So hi everyone. Thank you first of all, Miss Gage and Miss Morgado for inviting us. It's a pleasure to be here, and we feel so honored and flattered to follow Mr. Mark Fillingham and all these amazing alumni with brilliant paths. We have a very different story from everyone here, and I think that's the main reason why we were invited today, just to give you some perspective that success and ambition is different for everyone, and you can aim to do like a very academic path, go to a very big company, or you can also choose to go to your family business, and that in our case is a small family business, not a big one, a small one. And I'm from the class of 2011, so I left CLIP 11 years ago. So yeah.
And I'm from class of 2016, so I graduated 6 years ago.
And I studied at CLIP from Form 4 to Form 12.
And in my case, I studied since kindergarten up until Form 12. Even though we have very different paths, we also have very similar things along our path that also led us to identify with each other. So our subjects crossed with economics and art. We both did those subjects. And then I also ended up doing psychology, and my sister ended up doing history. So we have quite similar subjects and areas. I then ended up deciding to study in Portugal, because I wanted to be close to my family and close from home. And I decided to go to management, because when I got to Form 11, Form 12, when you have to really make decisions, I wasn't sure at all what I wanted to do with my life. And I feel some of you may relate. I talked with my parents, and I talked with Miss Gates and Miss Morgado, which helped me so much, gave me a little bit of luck when I needed, gave a shoulder to cry on. And I ended up deciding to go to management because it is a very broad degree that gives you a very good foundation in terms of pretty much anything you would want to do afterwards. So you have anything from economics, accounting, law, marketing, decision making, and also entrepreneurial subjects, which I thought was really good for me, because I had a very good perspective of different subjects to then decide further along what I wanted to do. And I studied at Universidade Católica de Porto. Yeah. I ended up also wanting to choose, like my sister had, not a big idea of what I wanted to do up until the moment of the decision. And so after speaking also with my teachers and my family, we kind of figured out that maybe management, some of the areas wouldn't be as much for me, as I was and still am, a very creative, and some of the subjects maybe would not interest me as much in management. And so I ended up going to a more specific but also very broad area, which was marketing. I ended up studying marketing management in IPAM in Porto as well. And it was also a very nice course, very practical. And now my sister is going to tell you just a little bit about our business, what it is. And then we will go along and tell you a little bit about our path, both academically and then how we started in our family business.
So our family business is a jewelry business. Our grandmother, started it 38 years ago. And then my mother got into the company as well. She has a gemology degree, so she deepened more into that area. And while my grandmother just bought and sold the jewelry, my mother started creating some pieces as well, because she couldn't find anything specifically that she wanted in the market. And so she decided she would create some pieces of her own. And from a very early age, we had very close contact with our family business, because we did not live in Porto. We lived outside in the suburbs. And so after CLIP and after our extracurricular activities, most times we would go to the store and we would hang out there, start to meet some of the usual clients, play around with the jewelry, and we started to enjoying the business. And if some of you have family businesses, you would know that you never get to separate your family dynamic from your work. And so we usually traveled for leisure, but also for work. And we started doing, with my mom from a very early stage, jewelry exhibitions internationally. And so we started to meet the buyers, see how the whole process is done from starting to buy, envisioning a collection and having it at store to present to your clients. And whilst I was studying in Católica, I started working part-time at my family business, and I thought that was really good for me because when you study, most concepts are usually really theoretical, and so you don't really see how you get to apply all of those themes to real life and your daily job. And so that was good for me because I could take those subjects, all those concepts, and see which concepts I could actually apply to my job. And I started to really like it. And when I ended Católica in 2014, I felt studying wasn't my passion. So academic wasn't really my way to go. And I didn't really want to commit to a master's or something bigger like that. But I did want to have an experience living abroad. And so I decided to go to London for 3 months. And I studied at St. Martin's in London, which is a fashion college. And I did 3 short courses where I studied starting a jewelry business, fashion styling and photo shoot, and fashion design for beginners, where you would learn the whole process of creating a collection. So the mood boards, the materials, and the Pantones to finalizing and putting it sort to sell. And when I got back from London, opportunity came up that really changed the course of everything. So we got the opportunity to open a second store on a location which is the downtown area in Porto, which would allow us to get to a different public than we get with our original store, which is more national customer and a more I don't want to say loyal, I don't know how to put it, but like a client that has started going to the store from an early age with their grandmothers and mothers, and they become usual clients. Here we would have the opportunity of get a new clientele and a tourist clientele, which could also be really interesting for us. And so my parents had a talk with me and say, Catarina, are you ready for this? Do you want to take on this project, be the leader, take on every responsibility that comes with it? And I was like, come at me, I'm 22, I'm ready. And so, yeah, I took that opportunity and we're here at the store and it's 6 years now.
Yeah, so my path was a little different. I ended up studying, as I said, in IPAM, which is a marketing school, and I really enjoyed the kind of education they had, as it was, to my opinion, very similar to CLIP in the sense that it was very hands-on, very practical. We started working with businesses and big brands since the first year, and to me that was very interesting and also allowed me to get this experience of applying what I was learning into actual real scenarios. And so I really enjoyed my course, really loved studying there, but also didn't have the ambition to have a very academic path, more so a work path and have many work experiences and build my journey from there. So this constant contact with big brands and also smaller brands, working with them, learning what they needed, what they were searching for. I ended up also wanting to work for one of these big brands when I left college. And so I ended up applying for an internship. I only applied for one internship because it was the only one I wanted. So I was like, I'm just gonna stick with it and really pursue it. and it ended up working out. I really don't know how, but it ended up working out. And so I ended up working 1 year for L'Oréal Portugal. I did the internship there. I enjoyed some parts of it, and some parts of it I didn't enjoy as much. And we will also talk about these
pros and cons.
Pros and cons, kind of what working in a big brand. In this case, I can only speak big company. I can only speak for L'Oréal in this case, so I don't know if it applies to every big company. Probably not. But we will also make this contrast in experiences. I learned a lot in this year of internship, but then when I ended the internship in more or less January 2020, we were already hearing about the pandemic, and I was thinking of coming back to Porto. So because when I had the internship at L'Oréal, I ended up moving to Lisbon for a year, and so I had that experience as well of living by myself. But then I actually wanted to come home and not live by myself anymore because I didn't enjoy it that much. So I came back, and then all of a sudden the pandemic kind of hit, and not I was stuck, but we were kind of stuck here in the downtown area. We also live here, so we ended up arregaçar as mangas. How do we say? Like,
pull up our sleeves.
Pull up our sleeves and say, okay, let's get our family business out there. Let's make it known to more people. Try and get it more online. And so, even though I didn't have many plans when I left my experience of the internship, it ended up just working out this way, and I ended up thinking it was the perfect opportunity for me to try out our family business and really also try and push for my skills in the business. And so we ended up building also even more our online store, which also was a very big challenge for me. So yeah, I just ended up going into the business when the business needed me and when I needed the business. So it was the perfect opportunity.
Essentially, and I want to get that out there, our small business is the main source of income for our family. So we really do need to work all we can for it. And the pandemic was a really, really tough moment for us because, I mean, our whole family depended on it. And the product we sell, which is jewelry, essentially, is a very it's the kind of product people like to see and try on before they buy, and it's not water or bread. So in a pandemic moment, people need to focus on their needs. They're not spending that excess money on material superficial things, let's put it that way. And so for us, it was a really tough job to get out there and try to push our clients, just saying this is a really bad moment, but you can also buy something nice for yourself to try to make you feel a little bit better with this horrible situation we are all in. And Carminho was really fundamental at that time because we did have a jewelry, an online website since 2013, but it was just there. So we had the stores, we didn't really need it, it was there, and I didn't have the time to really pick up on it, because when you have a small business, you don't have like a job role, you have so many. You literally have to do everything. So you're the general manager at the store, you're the photographer, you're the social media manager, you're the model, you have to be the stylist, you window dress, you have to do everything. And she was really fundamental at that time because I had to share
the responsibility.
Yes.
Yeah. But one of, also picking up on that, one of the biggest things I think that a small business brought to me was that you get the full scope of the business. So whereas in the internship, I felt like I was doing a very, very small part of what the business had going on. in the case of a small business, I felt like I could be in the biggest decisions, in the smallest decisions, in every little detail that is a business. And so I feel like it gives you a very wide scope of everything that goes into having a business and making it work. And so I feel like that's for sure one of the biggest benefits of working in a small business.
You also get to be your own boss, which is pretty awesome. I mean, you take on a lot of responsibility, but you're also in charge of shaping the success of your business without macroeconomic factors, of course, but you get to lead the way and decide which direction you're going. And that's really, really great. And you also, and Carminho can tell you more about that because she had another experience, but you don't have the pressure of the career ladder. So you're not expecting a promotion, but you're also not getting laid off. And that's quite interesting as well.
Yeah, it was, at least from my perspective, it was kind of hard because in the case of L'Oreal, it was a very like wheel dynamic, like one entered, one exited, one entered, one exited. So it was a very fast dynamic. And I think my perspective was like, I was going to have the internship, I was going to stay, I was going to do all these things in the company. And all of a sudden, there wasn't a space for me when I left. And so that was a little disappointing for me. And it was also a hard thing to overcome, but I think it ended up being the best decision.
For sure. I also want to say something because I know most parents, even if they have their own business, advise you should do college and then you should have like a couple of experiences on bigger companies before coming to your own business so you can bring more knowledge and everything. But I do think, in a sense, since I didn't do that and I ended up directly in my family business, that it's so great that we get to enjoy our mother and learn from her mentorship, because if we were to only get into the business further along, maybe she would be much older and we wouldn't have this coexisting time with her to learn while she's here to teach us. And that's pretty amazing, and we are so fortunate for that.
Yeah.
And to continue to build our legacy, which I think is really, really nice too. And hopefully, when we have our children as well, they may want to choose this option too. Yeah, I just want to end our moment with a quote that I think really makes sense for us. So success occurs when opportunity meets preparation. And for both of us, that's true. So thank you.
Thank you very much for having us.